Hey, yeah, can you just close out my tab? I gotta do this dumb lecture on Zoom class. Oh shoot.
I'm
Hey,
s-
River.
I'm so happy that's in the recording. How
How you
you
doing,
doing?
brother?
How you doing?
Doing all right, man. Just got done packing my stuff, ready to go.
Nice. That's awesome. That's awesome. I need to start doing some premium VCs again to pump these lecture numbers up.
Yeah, I've had every Sunday. It's usually, you know, it's weird. Like people, they must like only get that notification like right at 5 p.m. for us because I'll send out the first ping. There's like two people, and then boom, once 5 o'clock hits, like everybody rolls in. It's like they're, I guess rightfully so, waiting for it to actually start. But
Yeah.
I usually get 2025 is usually,
Yeah.
what I get.
Yeah. That's been, yeah. I
I've been
used
seeing some
I
new
used to be
faces
a
though, so
bit
that's
higher.
good.
30, 35, I think is my normal lately.
How'd you end up today, River? I was actually pretty busy. Didn't really talk to you guys in Discord a whole lot.
I hardly did anything. Scalped some Apple calls twice. That was about it. Bought this. And then hit them early too. Summer. I don't know. Scalp some apple calls. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I scalped some spy calls too. I actually hit a nice one. I don't remember. I think it was here. Maybe it was here. I don't know. But hit a nice one. But then grabbed those ones into close and somewhere around here. I don't know. And they went red, green, red, something like that. Apples, yeah, those ones gave me that. That was like I got lucky on that one. I mean, I bought this and I got that, and so I only took one of those apples overnight with me. Figured why not?
Right. Nice.
This one though, should have waited. I bought this one. Felt for two candles was like I just bought the bottom. It wasn't. It wasn't the bottom. It's not the bottom.
I tried to buy the Netflix
Uh,
dip that wasn't done taking a dip.
it was a rough day for being a dip buyer. I mean, I love to buy me some dip. Wow, look at that Netflix close. Did you swing? I would have swung long.
I got a new. So I stopped at what is it, 70? I don't have. I'm on my phone. 73 4 or 77.40 something point four.
Yeah, I got 77.32. We're close enough.
Yeah, and it sold under, and then it reclaimed that, and I bought one into close. It's closed
Nice.
red, but next week 77 call.
Yeah. I mean, look at that band. I'd swing.
Yeah, and then
I'd,
on the daily, I sent you that chart on the daily.
yeah.
There's that little cluster from
Yeah, I
I
had
don't know
it.
how many months ago. That's the
Yeah.
last chance support, how I see it.
Yeah.
Short term support.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. That was starting me on this A lab. I mean, this is the weekly band. I know we haven't closed, but closing outside of a weekly band would be excessive. And then we are miles on the daily band. So I'm not really necessarily looking for a reversal, but get me up here to 135, something like that.
Oh, Sharks in here, Archon's in here. Got everybody.
Yeah, Archon, we got Archon in here, we got Shark in here. Archon still made it trend trading. Love to see it. Check out Microsoft. Yeah, and we'll just talk here. Welcome, welcome everybody. We're gonna talk here for a second, and we'll get to rolling. Jeez. Oh my God, dude. I know my share is hurt. I'm very just get a blankie. I sure want to buy this thing. What a give back, huh? That's the spot. And gap filled. Watch that pop down. Well, it already did. Okay, it already did what I would have wanted it to do. Will I be trading it all tomorrow? Maybe. Like 30 minutes in the morning. And probably not though. Man, Microsoft. Well, I mean, definitely the spot to try. Oh yeah, sounds perfect, Archon. Yeah, I am. Yep, I am. I am. Oh, mid. Don't recommend it. Uh, KP, APP. Let's check it out. Ooh. Man, them call swingers are hurting. I mean, for me, like, I mean, this is actually, I mean, this is a Shark rule, you know? I mean, well known in the market and accurate, and Shark pushed it forever, and he's in here, so a great time to say it. After earnings, after any big news event, the 3 day rule is a blessing. Give the market a few days to like think about it, you know? I mean, we can like look at this chart and we can say nice double bottom. We know our risk here, 363. We're in there, you know, around there. Risk is down there, 352, but looking for 397 just on that little range bounce right there. So the risk reward can be there and the chart can look good on something like this, but generally let those earnings settle out a little bit. I mean, you know, they like when you get that kind of a crush on, you know, there was some beats, there was some missed worried parts there, you know, but a massive increase in EPS. I mean, you're talking about a 50% increase in EPS quarter over quarter. That's great. And I understand wanting to buy the dip. When the market does this to something, give it a couple days and you'll likely end up much happier. Even if nothing else, there's still some IV riding in those things with moves like this. So you can let some of that IV cook itself out of there and probably get yourself a better entry if you just wait a couple days. You swung a Microsoft call? Why not? I mean, stops under 400. Well, like a tomorrow expiration. Hopefully not a tomorrow expiration, but like, yeah, why not? Stops under 400. It's pretty like cut and dry there, you know? Okay, I'm gonna make one more post here. I'm a sleeper by night, Archon. I'm an old guy, dude. Go to bed early. Okay, and with that, let's get to rolling. Welcome everybody. Thank you for being here, Dirty River. Happy to have you. Tonight, you know, not like our normal lectures. You guys know me. I like to always talk technicals. I love technicals on a charts and fundamentals, you know. It's my favorite thing to talk about. Favorite thing about the market is watching charts and seeing if I can maybe be right or wrong. You know, that's what I love to do in the market. But tonight, you know, market's been, you know, don't get me wrong, super range bound, but super volatile. All kinds of fun, all kinds of terrible habits being formed. We got people printing on $9 out of the money SPY puts. You know, that's always this like just a bit of a recipe for disaster. You know, people start to think these kinds of moves are going to happen every day, even though, you know, today is one of those, you know, oddball out days that don't come along very often. And you know, everybody, myself included, wishes they traded a little bit better, but it messes with your head. It makes, you know, like I'm sorry, you checked a dartboard today at like any big name stock, really most of the S&P 500, check a dartboard at a put and you made money today. You know, we had a few nice standouts, AT&T, some of those like, you know, safety names are really running. So, you know, that might mean something for the market, but for us, we see this, you know, we see a nice whatever it was, $12 down day on SPY, and people start to build some bad habits. So I thought tonight, well, I actually talked to him about it yesterday, but today made it a great day to do it. I thought tonight it would be really fun to have, you know, two guys that I love to trade with them, really smart people, ask them about trades. We talk about trades. I tell them I hate their trades and then they pay them huge, you know? And so I thought it'd be fun to have, the three of us in here. I'm going to say we're all different. We all trade differently, but that's not really true. We all virtually, you know, at least in my opinion, me, 1K and Shark, we all look at charts in a very, very similar fashion. We all just look at them for slightly different reasons. So that's why I thought this would be a fun group of people. We have, big volatility in the market, so we can get some opinions on it. And, I'm mostly known for scalping. Mostly what I do in the voice chat is scalping, so everybody knows that I scalp. 1K, he swings, he scalps, he does it all too, just like all of us do. But he's an epic day trader. So I thought it'd be great to have a day trader in here. And then Shark, obviously, he swing trades. And so, like I said, we all analyze the market and all kind of think about the market in the same way, but we all have our different, preferred methods of trading. And so that's why I thought it'd be pretty cool to have the three of us together. Mostly going to be these guys talking, I hope, and let all of you ask questions. So we're gonna kind of, what I was thinking is I just got a couple things, some like, generic questions that I'm gonna ask both 1K and Shark about. And then kind of wanted to open it to you guys, have you guys ask questions. And then, if we get to talking, we can talk about whatever we want to talk about. But you guys will see part of my questions that I want to ask him is, and we'll get to it, of course, but how are they dealing with the volatility? What are they looking for in the market from here on out? Next week, next month, next year, who cares? But how are they viewing the market right now? So with that, I'm gonna get done yapping, take a drink of water. Shark, 1K, you guys here? You guys want to say hi or not? But regardless, 1K, you gotta unmute that mic of yours because I got some questions for you.
Walking around the house. I'm gonna turn my Wi-Fi off my bed. I
Nice.
honestly didn't. Did you ask me a question? I'm sorry.
No, I haven't yet. I haven't
Okay.
yet. But nope, just saying if you guys want to say hi, and then I'm gonna start bugging you guys.
All right. Sounds good.
Shark, we got you.
Yep. No, I'm here. I was letting you give your intro and you
Perfect.
can do it.
Right on, dude. So everybody knows that Shark 1K. Like I said, I got a couple questions. I'm gonna ask both of them first. Actually, I know Shark might be on the move, so maybe I should start with Shark. So Shark, how you doing? How's everything?
No,
How's the
doing
market?
good, man. I'm glad you're doing one of these lectures now. It seemed like the right time. That's why I shot you a message. I was like, I'm getting a few of these questions myself, and I'm sure a lot of people are having the same questions, and obviously
Yep,
I'm dealing with the same market everyone else is, and I'm trading
exactly.
less, as you could probably tell a bit by just to reduce things and the longer dated expiration. So when you're not seeing the same activity from yourself or inflow of trades and money, then it starts to mess with your head a little bit. So this is perfect time for all this.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, again, I got some generic questions. What's your favorite type of trading, Shark? You like swing trading, maybe?
Maybe he's only swing trading.
You like maybe some swing trading only. So I want to ask about, for the people in here, your favorite setups in the market. I know that you just did that awesome post for us in Pro. Obviously, Premium hasn't got to see it. I'm sure it snuck out to a few people, but I thought it would be cool to talk about what you do. There's a lot of people out there, a lot of the gurus and stuff, they're trying to push, supply and demand and things like that. And supply and demand is awesome. Like it's, an extremely effective trading style. It's basically, looking for consolidations, trying to buy the lows of consolidations and looking for the breakout to the upside. But they call it supply and demand these days, And so you are one of those people that trades, demand zones. That's your thing. You love demand zones. So I thought it'd be cool if you could tell us, what is your favorite setup? I can't think of any off the top of my head that I've seen lately. So I was hoping maybe you had a stock off the top of your head and we could show people kind of a chart to show you what you look at, how you trade it, in times of volatility, what do you deal with, And I figured if you got a chart on the top of your head, we could pull it up pretty quick and kind of show people what you're looking at.
Yeah, no, 100%. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I do trade demand zones, and one thing like I think I do a pretty good job of hitting home is you like not being so just like one dimensional in these markets. Like they're ever changing, they're ever rotating. You kind of got to have it's like a plumber, multiple tools and everything. You don't know what you're gonna walk in on the job.
Yep.
But as the past, I'd say months, even uh, past months, I'll say like half a year when I started learning again, we were hitting these demand zones, and the market was really. I mean, I remember you kept mentioning me for staying bullish during those times. I'm like, when they
Yeah.
come back to these zones, like we're not necessarily saying it's going to hit the zone in reverse. We're going to say we're looking for short reactions, and we're getting those reactions every time.
Exactly.
So we were hitting them, and now I kind of want to get back on here because the market, like when I view this market right now, I'd say, like, yeah, there's some chop, but I mean the volatility is more so shifted from directional expansion just to rotational volatility. Like we're seeing movement, but
Oh
we're not
yeah.
seeing a sustained follow through.
Hmm.
So we're getting strong intraday moves, but the higher time frames are still compressing. Breakouts are lacking continuation, ranges are being defended, and
Yep.
I don't view volatility as good or bad. I just view it as information. So, the volatility is telling me just prioritize some selectivity over some aggression. And in the market, like, I mean, we're still looking for some higher time frame clarity, either clean expansions out of these ranges or deeper pullbacks into higher time frame demands that
Hmm.
maybe haven't been tested multiple times. So when I'm looking at the market right now, I'm really looking for like displacement commitment. I want to see a strong move away from a level because when we're seeing these like breakouts kind of fade and people get frustrated, um, the last thing you want to do is just hop in everything, seeing like, oh, we're gonna bounce. Like, let's look for some moves away from these levels, and not just reactions. So I was actually talking to my buddy. I mean, the ticker is it's a AA, Alcoa Corporation.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh. I've
Yeah.
traded. Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
yeah, so this isn't one of my typical ones, but now we're looking at let's find like where we could pop off these levels. So it's actually we're looking at on the weekly, we're getting that bull flag. So that former supply, we're looking
Mhm.
at it
Yeah.
to to project now
Yeah.
if we could flip that supply to demand, which I think if people remember that J&J trade we hit a while back,
Yeah.
same idea, so same concept. So all these like higher time frames are fading, and we're not getting these pops off these accumulations. So now we're looking for where can we pull back just off of these former breakout spots. So
Yep.
that's what we're looking at, and yeah, I mean, I hope
And that's
all
what
that
I've
makes
been kind
sense.
of wondering with you because, like, and everybody knows me that I preach trade ranges, find ranges, and hammer ranges. So as you can imagine, I'm liking the market. I mean, I haven't had like an amazing couple weeks, but I'm loving the market. I love
Hmm.
easy short, easy long, and not having to worry about breakouts. So that's kind of what I've been wondering with you as far as swing trading, like I've obviously traded with you what on and off for 4 years now, 5 years now, maybe, you're very good at, letting consolidations form for a long enough amount of time that by the time you're finally buying it, I preach the statistics all the time, 80% of breakouts fail. Well, you're one of those people that's patient enough and observant enough of the market that you let those 80% fail before you even take your entry. But in this market that, as you said, the breakouts aren't holding and the breakouts haven't, and, don't get me wrong, has there been some like insane runners, SanDisk, of course there's some insane runners, but as a whole in the market, it's mostly been nice volatile pop to right back into the range, right back into the chop. Have you been adjusting, looking for less breakout, looking for more? I mean, don't get me wrong, we all know the shark rules at 100%, but have you been looking for more, like 20, 30, 50 percenters instead, just kind of assuming that the breakouts just don't have the legs to stick lately, or are you just more going kind of hands off as a whole?
No, that's exactly right. And that's what I mean. If anyone on this call should open up the chat, see people saying things. When I've been messaging people, that's probably been one of my biggest biggest advices. I would say you just have to kind of assume the worst. Whether it's a headline, whether it's just like these range bound days where people like you are gonna print. Sometimes I've texted people and I've said, hop into River Stream today and you'll probably make some money because
Yeah.
this swing trade, we're not gonna assume we're gonna get the same move.
Yep.
So I mean, it's one of those where this is gonna happen. I mean, obviously, I've been trading now full time as my only source of income for we're going on seven years. So I've seen this before. It's frustrating and I get it. But when you get that initial move and that zone holds and you do get that reaction, like I said, we're not trying to predict reversals. That's one thing I put in that presentation. I really wanted to hammer home because I get a lot of charts sent to me, and they're great. Like they're drawn up perfectly, and they're entering at these things. Like you can't assume it's going to hold.
Yeah.
Like we're not trying to predict a reversal. We're not here to call these bottoms or call these tops. it's great when you do. You know, it feels good.
Feels
You
good, but that's
yeah,
it.
you feel like
Nobody remembers next week, but
I'm saying, yeah, you
for
feel
the
like it
one
was your
glorious minute, you got a bottom tick, and that's sick, you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
like it's cool, man.
Yeah.
You get a little screenshot. It's good for advertising and marketing if you have a
Exactly.
Discord too.
Yeah. But then
But
nobody remembers when you stop out at the next trade, you know? They
yeah,
don't care about their previous bottom tick.
exactly. But I
But
mean,
yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. And that's what that's what I kind of want to talk to you about because, like I said, I've traded with you for a long time. You're unbelievable at finding breakouts and taking the buys when the breakout could actually come. And I had just been wondering if you were just approaching it a little bit different, still looking for the same setups, but maybe looking for a little less result on the other end. Something that I teach people all the time, and I know with me, I'm sure you're the same. I'm sure 1K is the same. Doesn't matter what the market's doing. We're still looking for the same setup over and over and over again. We aren't jumping from, we aren't trading ATRs one day, ICT the next day, supply and demand the next day. We found something that actually works and we stick with it. So is that basically what's going on for you? You're just kind of looking for those same setups, like always. Some of them are ripping, some of them aren't ripping, and you just know that's the what the market is giving us right now.
yeah, so we're looking for the same setups, but we're also, when you get that initial move, like our last trade, I think I said put a stop ahead of your entry because I knew it just in this market, there is a higher chance it comes back, and the worst, like it's the worst feeling when you look at
Yep.
green, now it's red, now it's really red the next day, and you're like, should I add? Like, why are we adding to a trade where if they put their money was put in your pocket,
Yeah.
So you got to just kind of reduce your expectations if you have the time to hop on and scalp these intraday trades. That's great. I mean, luckily for me personally, like I'm in that position where I enjoy swing trading. It funds my life, so I'm not. I try to tell people don't put a profit target for weeks in your head because not every week's going to be the same.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
just kind of
Exactly.
tapering expectations from a technical standpoint. As of recent, I've kind of been looking for these flushes and reclaims. So right now, I think Zeta is one of them because it came down to my demand and I had my eyes on it. Luckily, like I said, we're not predicting these reversals, so I didn't jump in. I think
Yeah.
a more novice trader would have hopped in at that point. I mean, they see value, so we popped under. If we flush and it is a liquidity grab and we can get back in there, that's a different look for me. So I'm kind of focusing on these to see where these dips really get bought up. But
Yep.
yeah,
Well,
it's a lot of it is
and I think that's something that's interesting and I mean, I hear about it a lot, and I'm sure you hear about it too. We're we're dip buyers and we are, rip shorters. I mean, you don't often short things, but like we buy the dip and we short the rips. That's how we trade, That's like it's what makes sense to us. Well, a lot of people oftentimes view that as counter trend trading. And it's not that we're counter trend trading. We aren't trying to bottom tick. We aren't trying to do anything like that. Like when I'm scalping, I buy where they've bought before and say, hey, they're going to buy here again or they're not going to buy here again. And if I get my pop, I take my money. You're doing the same thing swing trading. Day traders are doing the same thing day trading. And it's not that, I like that you're trying to like really press that into people. It's not about trying to bottom tick something. Like you said, sometimes it happens and it feels great, but it's never truly a bottom tick. It can still go lower, but we want that move. We want the volatile pop off of whatever we're buying. And it doesn't matter what type of trading you do. I like that you said, take your greens, especially in a market like this. When we were trending, like, don't get me wrong, 2020, end of 2022, into 2023, long and strong. And don't bat an eye, like, I mean, that market, it made sense to do it. This market just hasn't, it doesn't make sense to go looking for those home runs. Is there the occasional big move? Yes, but somebody like you does very well where you just patiently wait and you let it come to you. And that's going to really be the way to be successful in this market swing trading, at least in, how I'm viewing it. And I always defer to you of like, what's working in swing trading right now is probably whatever Shark has his eye on, So when I've seen you doing a little bit less, I'm like, yeah, it's probably a good idea to be doing less.
yeah, no, 100%. I mean, like I talk to people kind of about their trading identity when I do have these discussions. And these are like some bigger time traders. I mean, these guys have big audiences. Luckily, like I am in a few of these circles, and I was telling one of them, I was like, I mean, are you trying to be right, or are we trying to be profitable here? Like, I get you have
Yeah.
like a show to put on about just like a lot of guys follow him. I don't want to like drop names, but like he has an audience and he's talking to me. It's a bit frustrating. And I was like, I mean, in chop, like we're taking small losses. You'll get partial wins. You're gonna scratch trades. If you always want to be right, you're gonna spiral, man. If you're
Yeah.
focused on executing your process, you'll make it out of here with your capital, with growing it slowly. And when there's a time and place, like you'll see me place 7 trades in a week and probably be expecting 100% on each one of them because the market's not supposed to be easy. I mean, honestly, like discipline, it's it's not being tough. It's just reducing decision making in real time. You know.
Yeah. And it's about knowing when to get on the gas pedal and when to ease off, you know? Like I scalp. So I'll have days where maybe I take 14 trades, because the market is giving them. The range is being respected. You hammer the range until the range doesn't work and you take a bunch of trades. That's just not every day. And that's, so important in the market of like knowing when to be involved and knowing when to sit on the sidelines. And I think, unfortunately, for a lot of people, they don't know when to sit on the sidelines. And that's where the struggle begins. And then, like you said, they got to be right. They care so much about being right, and that's just you know, I I don't care about the whys or the I did this or I did that in the market. I'm just here to make a few bucks. And if I make a few bucks, I'm doing it right. We had a guy in here one time. It was the worst logic I've ever heard. I got a screenshot of it somewhere. I'd rather be right than green. And he doesn't trade anymore, as you can imagine what that
I
meant.
could imagine. Yeah.
Like to full on just say it is just crazy. Okay, so let's see. We got a couple questions for you, Shark. Here we
By the
go.
way, River is talking about me right now when he said that, just so everybody knows.
Oh my God, Alex. I wish, dude. I wish I would have just called you out, dude. Like one time Alex pulled up and told me he'd rather be right than green, dude. No questions. Oh, Oscar. So you got asked about Oscar here for yeah, of course.
Awesome.
Of course the swing trading guy's gonna be here for Shark. You looked at Oscar lately, Shark?
I have not looked at Oscar.
Oh yeah,
I
you're gonna be pissed that it just hammered into the buy zone,
oh wow.
the no-brainer long, and then it just decided to
See,
rip.
and this is one of these where I say you add it to you like you don't. I really wouldn't just hop in that Oscars at demand. Oscars at demand. We're looking for an impulsive move away from that. Like
Yeah.
we don't have to be that very bottom buyer.
No.
I mean, if you look into Oscar and you look at the fundamentals and you like it and you're talking about equity here, 100%. I mean, I
Buy.
started buying. I've been shopping the past week or two. I think I mentioned I bought into some open knowing it's going to go lower, but I wanted to stake in the company.
Yeah.
So there's a moments I buy it. So if I'm
Yeah.
looking at Oscar and I like the company, I'm taking some here and I'm waiting and I'm building a position. If we're talking about just from a surgical option perspective, I mean this is a great look. Like honestly,
Dude,
Vio, like that is
I'm
a
buying 12 and I'm stopping at 11 all day.
100%, 100%. If you're in it for like a quick week scalp, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm buying 12. And then
Yeah, no, that's a
and then you get the run from
bro,
12 to
and that's why I love being in these groups and this community. Sometimes I get on and I'll go through my messages, and my watch list has grown by like 20 tickers. I'm like, these guys are amazing. Like the ones that are here to actually like get on, like it's great, man.
um let's see. Let's see. Uh Shark, you use trend lines at all? I like that question. That's a good question.
Yeah, no, I do use trend lines. Like I think I mentioned, I came away from a lot of indicators, and I do like to stick to when I talk about like I see the question with confluence too. This kind
Yeah.
of goes into both for trend lines. Like when I know I talk about zones a lot because that's what was working, and I don't really like to overcomplicate this too much. But I mean, demand zones are just locations. The confluence of everything I'm looking for. That's what's going to increase the probability at that location. So I mean, I'm looking for market structure alignment. Like I want the zone to align with the higher time frame structure. Um, like the context is everything in the market.
Yeah.
I always have my trend lines drawn up. I think that's just a natural one that everyone. I'm not gonna say you should be doing it because I don't want to tell anyone how to trade, but I mean that's just
But
like
like you should. I
yeah,
mean,
like that's the basis of it.
I've even told people, and like I know a guy that he makes more money than I ever will. trade a weekly trend line and buy a pullback to a weekly trend line.
Oh,
I mean, one of my favorite ones, this IBM one. I mean, you
oh
can even
wow.
see this is just that big weekly trend on IBM. You need to catch 234 to 324 off of it. Trade weekly trend lines. I mean, they are so money. It's ridiculous. And when like this thing has been holding an uptrend, obviously rough week for it here, probably the buy. But this thing's been holding it up since, May of 2024 is where I had it starting. You probably could have even started back here in 2023. Those things will pay you over and over and over again.
Yeah, no, I mean
Uh,
that's just one of those like basic ones you want to have. And while we're talking about trend lines, I see a lot like some of like the
I,
controversy with it is like they say it'll break my stop or it'll flush under my line and then I'll stop out and it'll reclaim it. But like these like liquidity sweeps and these stop hunts, these are really bullish like indicators to me. Like
I
if
love it. Like, there's nothing I love more than watching an ugly red candle, buying it, and then just watching that wick start growing.
yeah,
I mean, like,
and you're
yeah,
positioned and you're ready.
yeah,
Like that's it's
yeah,
such a bullish sign
yeah,
for the stock as it is. So like, nah,
yeah.
these trend lines they're big, common zones, and like we're really like I can't hammer home enough how much we're looking for the move off of it. Like we're looking for like these impulsive moves off of these trend lines. When the market is choppy, especially swing trading, you really want to focus on the reactions and everything more so than it just like, oh, it touched my thing. Like that's great. How about we wait a day? How about we wait 2 days? Like we're not scalping here. Obviously,
Yeah.
River and 1K, they're gonna get on and they're gonna tell you different things. Understand, like we trade differently. So like for them, you're in, you're out, you're making your money. For me, like patience is everything. This risk reward and the positioning. Like, is there room to the next structure? Or one of these questions I read on Discord, someone was asking me about like Oklo puts, and this is a little bit off topic, but I wanted to get to it because when River was talking about counter trading, I've been screaming Oklo. I would say it's garbage from the jump. You know,
Yeah.
when it was pumping, I was like, bro, what is this company?
Yeah.
All these overhyped things that aren't making money. So now he's talking about I really want to short all these companies and buy puts, and he's sending me different contracts he's looking at. And what I'm saying is when we're down here, like I'm not
You
saying you
should,
missed the move, but if there's no pop, and I'm not saying Oakland should go up because I'm pretty bearish on these
yeah.
names if you know me.
Yeah.
But he said thanks for
But
taking
like
my
this,
friend
but
request.
like I'm like I would struggle to find like a worse spot on the chart to get short.
Exactly. I'm saying like
Like,
the headway down
yeah,
when there's not too much room. Understand when you're playing with options, time's working against us. If it's chopping around a little bit, you're losing money. You know.
yeah.
So like I told him, I was like, if it pops, I'm with you. If not, like we kind of just have to be that inverse guy and be bearish when it's
And
not
like
looking bearish.
that's like even like I mean that's even been the S&P for me. People have been listening to me for the last 2 months. Anytime we're up here at 690, 692, I tell them I can't be long here. And like, have I missed some nice pops on some days? Absolutely. But as a whole, I've been super happy that I'm not long up there at that 692, 693 zone. Like I said, like you can see on the chart right here. Sure, I missed some upside moves, but I saved myself some pain when those upside moves got clobbered down.
I'm saying that's something obviously you do really well when people are screaming buys and they're aping into these companies that are running, and we're in the DMs laughing about it, and now look after the fact they
I
lost a lot
know.
of money, and we kind of wish we could have stopped them.
You're like BMNR, dude. Look at this money pit.
Oh my gosh,
Your
I
river,
love.
Dude,
can
it
we
was
ask the
right.
question or not?
Yeah.
Direct.
Here, let me talk to 1K. Let me
Okay.
talk to 1K for a second. And then we'll get to some questions here at the end. But you're gonna hear the same rundown from 1K too. So 1K, where is he?
Hello.
There he is, 1K. How we doing?
Doing good, man. Doing
Getting
good.
that tab all settled up?
Yep, Uber's on its way to pick me up.
Oh yeah, I like that. Yeah, Avenger knows where 1K is.
This is just the worst joke, man. I hardly ever drink,
I
actually.
can't believe I know, dude. I love that you remember when I just made it up. I love that like I just straight up lies stick around sometimes, dude. It's hilarious. Okay, so 1K. Same questions I'm gonna ask you. Favorite
What's
type
up?
of favorite type of trading.
Breakout, retest, breakdown, retest.
Yeah.
Simple as that. That's
Day
literally
trades
all I look for every single day.
every single day. Yeah. And breakout retests, what are you looking for? Daily levels, some sort of opening range. I know you love your daily. I still don't know if they're EMAs or SMAs, but you like some moving average on the daily. What's your favorite? You get like daily levels with EMAs kind of thing, or what's like your favorite thing to find?
So I mean my mornings start, I'm on the West Coast. So every day at 5:45 or 6 a.m. I open the charts and I pull up the hourly chart. It's just for me, it works. It's not too short of a time frame. It's not too long where I'm missing, you might miss some intraday or pre-market,
Yeah.
wicks on the daily. And so I go the 1 hour and I pull up SPY and I make a mental note and I set alerts that say, SPY is a super good example because it's a good range. I'm like, okay, I think we did today. Was it the third day in a row we opened up at like 695, like, the top. I know it
Today.
poked over, but every
Yeah.
day I wake up and I go, okay, we're at the top. And so I set a top side alert. And then I say, okay, if we break that, in my mind, I'm looking for bullish setups. I just kind of make a mental note. And to the downside, I'm like, okay, if 695 fails, where, today's Thursday, I look at previous day low and then, the lows of the week. And
Mhm.
so, like, I think, did we open at 695 today? I'm looking just now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
yeah.
okay, so we failed the breakout. So now let me back a step before I say that. So I make a mental note of SPY and QQQ every day. And I go down my watch list and I do the same thing on the hourly chart. And I say, okay, if we break out today on the ETFs, what are my favorite bullish scenarios that have room to run? Because like Bank of America is not going to run $7 in a day. So you got to be smart with your entry on Bank of America. And is it pushing on top of range or is it sitting somewhere that's tradable? And I just go down the watch list and I make mental notes and sometimes I write on like a sticky note and I'll just have kind of three, four, five names, bullish setups, bearish setups. And then fast forward to, you know, 30 minutes in the day, I'm watching the charts. I'm watching the charts. Okay, 695 failed. It's looking pretty weak. Tech is following. What other names look weak? Because like I try and say, there's times where, KO's bullish and the markets are weak. We can trade KO calls, but like
Yeah.
I try and preach and teach, follow the wave, follow the rip current in the water of if we're having a super bearish day, we should probably ride the wave, finding other weak names. And so, markets get weak, 30 minutes after the day, I kind of like to use that 30-minute mark. You know,
Yeah.
I
Love it.
I
Yeah.
don't
Love it.
trade I don't trade the open like almost every single day. SPY calls it open question mark
Yeah.
on
Every
trade
day.
floor. It's just like
Every day.
markets are open 6 hours a day. The last thing I want to do, it's 6:32 in the morning. I know I don't really alert SPY and QQ, but I alert SPY calls and we get instantly whacked. It's like, wow,
Oh, I
we're
alert
we're
that.
already
It's
red.
horrible. It's
We haven't even
horrible.
printed a
I do
five
it.
minute candle when we're red. Like
Okay.
I
Do
hate
not
that.
do not
So
recommend.
yeah, I let the first 30 minutes of the day settle and I wait for an alert. You guys see me charting on Sundays. I set a top side, a bottom side alert on something I'm watching. And I literally just wait for something to fire. And it fires and I look at it, I go, okay, whatever it is, like Uber is a good example, I guess, just because I took it today. I had a top side and bottom side alert on, typing up the alert. I know it went running like everything else did, but it's like I just follow that pre-market plan. I tell people in the one-on-ones, when you plan in the pre-market and then your levels hit, like you don't have to think, okay, Uber's getting weak. Is am I ready to get in? It's like I already know the level I want, just triggered. I already know my contract price I want, and then the heavy lifting is done. Most of your work is done. And so that's just my bread and butter. I look for, like I said, break and retest. So Uber
Yeah.
failed yesterday's low. And so we took, unfortunately, no one really got in unless they chased.
Yeah.
I alerted right when it broke that low and it just kept going. Unfortunately, didn't get a retest for people to enter, but like that's all I'm doing.
And
Breaking
then
previous day low, breaking previous day high, pre-market high low. And it's just like, I know
you know what?
I had a super tough January. There's no accident, with my alerts, but like I'm sticking with it. I have, you know, 3 years of breakout retests data to prove on my trading journal. I know it works. And so like Shark and you both mentioned, you just stick with what works. You're gonna have your tough days, your tough weeks, but as long as you keep the
Yeah,
losses manageable.
and yeah, you stick with what works. The important part is it needs to work. That is,
Right,
don't if something isn't working, you do need to accept that and change. And that's fine.
right,
Everybody will do that in their trading. But when something works, you hammer it and you never stop, you know?
right,
And wow,
right.
this is actually a super sick trade. Break yesterday's low, right around one of those ER wicks, dumper straight down to the bottom of ER where, people bought before. That's a beauty.
Hmm.
That's a beauty.
Yep,
I love that. That's
yep.
a great one. Oh, and if you were you on like some weekly 70s? Because those went crazy if you did.
Uh, 71, but I don't have the chart in front of me. Whatever the closest strike was.
Yeah, well, you're up about
Uh,
70, 80, so probably 71s or 70s.
maybe.
That's a sick one. No matter what, that's sick, dude. Love that. Yeah, we all did KO and T, and like, dude, you want to know what's so funny? Is like, you guys all know that me and 1K, we trade KO. Like, dude, this is, I mean, I trade KO all the time. You can see this chart. Like, I've been trading KO. Like, here's charting on KO back to, 2023, 2022. You want to know what I've had zero like part of is this rip of a lifetime on KO. I mean, you're telling me KO is going to put up 20% in a month? Like, that is just insane. I mean, T doing the same thing. T's just vertical. Pepsi's vertical. Walmart vertical. Target. I mean, if you guys can't tell, they're really running into some safety right now. Okay, so 1K. Got it. Got favorite setup. Love it. Works over and over and over again. We sometimes some of these like retail ideas get people don't like that. A breakout retest has so much going on and so many reasons why it works and so many reasons why it's a type of trading that more people should do. It's obviously not something that I do frequently, but more people should do it because it forces you to wait for some real confirmation and it gives you very defined trade. We're gonna use your trade 1K because I like it a lot. Yesterday's low. So, for anybody who doesn't understand what a breakout retest is, here's yesterday's low. Obviously, buyers showed up around here. We're breaking it. So, and again, this
Oh
that was
wait,
my
let me stop you. Sorry. The low of that morning dip yesterday. Sorry. That
oh,
now that
this
makes
one, oh,
sense.
way up here.
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh,
Sorry.
well,
Okay.
that's okay. Either one of these.
Yeah. So
So
see, they sold it under, and I
yep.
waited that morning volatility. They popped it, and then when markets got weak, I was like, okay, follow momentum. Yeah, that was it. My bad.
So yeah, perfect.
Sorry, I'm on
No,
my phone.
great. Okay. Well, so even better. So here's your entry. Doesn't matter where you enter. You enter here. Thankfully this is Uber. So, big candle on the chart, but also, what we got, you had some time to enter here and you had what, 20 cents lower. Plenty to entry. Your stop is a reclaim of that breakdown. It's going to be a very, very low risk trade. Now you have very defined targets. Obviously, yesterday's low, which again is offering another entry, a breakdown, retest it, you take it, no questions asked. And then, as I was mentioning, and I'm sure 1K saw the same thing, here's your earnings low from earlier this week. Obviously negative reaction mostly after earnings. So you have to assume they're going to come back here and tag it. And that's where you're going to want to take your trade off. And so this is perfect trade, very easy to follow, very easy to chart, and everything is defined for you. You can enter here, you can enter here. Your stop's going to be basically 72. Very, very defined. So you're risking 40 cents for a buck down. I'll take that all day, every single day. No questions asked.
And see,
So love
the
that.
reason I teach it, because say we entered and it pops back over that. Well, then what do? We look at yesterday's price action, say, okay, they held this level, they're holding it today. What did it do there? It bounced. And so you lean, you can take a call right away, or you can just sit it out and go, okay, puts are wrong. But that's why to me, it's just a no-brainer way to trade. And you're not like, well, shoot, how do I know when to stop out? It's like, well, if they reclaim the previous day's support, you stop out. Simple as that.
Yeah. And especially with this, you start looking left and you know me, that's always and you and everybody always teaches look left. What has the chart done to the left? It's probably going to tell you what it's going to do to the right. And so we look left over here and we can see market had no success in this range yesterday. So we don't, for me, for how I trade, there's zero chance I would be looking long at any point in the day on Uber, knowing that this is what we dealt with yesterday. There's no meat on the bones up here. There's some meat on the bones down here. So I wouldn't even be looking for a long trade in this zone personally. But love the dip. However, same logic. We start breaking this upside, and now all of a sudden there's some meat on the bones with the tight stop. So it's really, really like it's a very safe, very smart way to trade. That's oftentimes going to provide you very low risk with potentially high reward. And so love it, love that one, K. And then so last one, what are you watching right now? What are your eyes on now?
I mean, honestly, I'm just a day trader, so I go day to day. I mean,
Yeah, I love it.
I'm very
Great.
aware of like QQQs, like what did it close at 600 or around it? So like, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, SPY 500 around psychological numbers. I'm not betting the farm that we're going to bounce tomorrow, but I'm like, if SPY or excuse me, QQQs are holding 600, I'm like, are we done maybe being bearish for a day? Possibly. But, just big picture. I start every day, clean mindset, clean slate, and just say, okay, where are we at? Where can we go if we fail this, or where can we go if we bounce this? And that's,
Like this is again one of those situations of like I know where I'm
oh,
not
see, I'm super bad at trend lines. Damn
I
it. Look at
know
that.
where I'm not short,
Yep.
right? That's for me. We even had our buddy in the group chat. Big red candle like this makes me think we're gonna gap down. I mean, when I hear that, it makes me want to jump. Big red candle like this to one of the biggest zones on the chart. I wouldn't take a put for free. Can we gap down tomorrow? And will all of you tag me tomorrow and make fun of me when we gap down huge and I'm dead wrong? Love it if you want to do that. But I look at this chart and I'll tell you what, I'm long off the open if we open around here tomorrow. If nothing else, the risk is tiny. I'd rather be long with a 50-cent stop out than short with a $3 stop out. I know that much. And so I look at this chart and don't get me wrong, I got trend lines. I know it's not the prettiest chart to look at, but um, you know, these big major trend lines of any sort are virtually always worth having your eye on. And you know, we know where they bought before, and we know where they bought in like some big ways before. Not to say they're going to do it, not to say in this shorter time frame we're setting lower highs on the Qs. Text looked horrible for a while, but again, slap some of your ranges on there. As we start getting down to these lows, we want to buy. We talked this in our class last week on SPY. Unfortunately, didn't get the opportunity because we took this massive gap up. But you can go back and we were talking in our lecture last week, and I'm saying if we're open in the 676, 675 area, I'm hammering this thing long. Unfortunately, we opened at 681 instead, and I didn't. We caught some move, but I didn't get a hammer it long. And so this is, I mean, you might be noticing this looks a lot like shark trading. You let things get crushed to a spot you want to buy and you buy them. And let the charts tell you what to do. Don't always be the person hunting continuation and things like that. 600 major trend line, I'm long. And I'll stop right below it, no questions asked. And that's just the easiest way for me to do it.
Can I? What's up, River?
Oh, we got Nando in here. Nando, how we doing?
I'm all right. So let me just break down my thoughts here, what I would do. So I think it's very common to what you just mentioned. There's one thing that I know what not to do, which is pretty much chasing this and buying the puts.
Yeah,
You right here at this psych level, you should be more thinking like, I'm obviously not chasing this if the move happens lower.
yeah,
Unfortunately, I'm just missing out on it, and we'll move on.
exactly. And that's me, dude. Like
That's a
I
perfect mindset. Yep.
Yeah. And Nando deals with it, same as me, more than me. He's in premium every day. There's a lot of people in there. I would rather miss a trade than lose money. That's my thing. And so, and me and Nando have been on the same page repeatedly on SPY. Um, you know, Anytime we're up here, I mean, you could probably go find Nando's post yesterday. I bet you we were trading about 695.75, and he tags me, top in question mark. Yeah, tops in, bro. I mean, don't get me wrong. We didn't know we were gonna be 20 lower or whatever it is, but same idea. And me and Nando, our charts don't look the same. He's not gonna have these support and resistance and things. We're still, I don't care who you are, you're gonna look at this chart. I don't care if you look at, maybe you look at the hourly chart. Doesn't matter. Maybe you look at the 4 hour chart. It doesn't matter. We know where we don't want to be long. And we know where we do want to be long, which is down here where we are right now, in my opinion. And so I'm right there with you, Nando. I ain't gonna chase this move if we keep going lower, but I'll start looking for some spots where I do want to buy. I know that much. And I think Shark would agree. I think 1K would also agree with that.
Yeah, and you guys know me. Like I'll admit I'm long in I used to be like this. I'm long in every resistance up there. And that's on the way up, right, for the market in general. Up here, I'm a little bit more cautious. It's just being aware of the
Yep.
range we're trading. But before it was so easy to just long every resistance, and sometimes I'd be wrong, but I think that approach has changed, and you've kind of been one of the ones to see that early change.
Yeah.
I'm looking at
Yeah,
these risk to reward entries at the top, and we you can ask the guys. Look what we did with Apple.
I know.
Uh,
Oh, dude, don't even talk about that thing, dude. Oh my God. I was long today, twice on this thing. I was long right here. That one was sick. And then I was long right here, and that one was so far from sick, dude. It was terrible. It's terrible. Waterfall on that thing, 5% down day on Apple. And I know you guys were short there. That was a good one. Oh, dude, what'd this one do for you? Oh, cratered. Baba worked out for you, eh?
not as I wanted, not fully. The execution wasn't the best here. I was
Yeah.
wrong on the entries, which is usually one of the most important things.
Yep, I agree.
Tough one, and I'm sure everybody else can agree. These China names are not easy to trade. They're not for the weak.
Oh, bro, I don't touch them. I'll
I
be
gave
honest.
up on them years ago.
I gave up on him years ago.
I'm
I mean,
still fighting.
I hit
Oh
Neo a couple
man.
times. I'm still fighting. I hit Neo a couple times, pretty sick, but like, God, they're just. I will say this chart's getting less gappy than it once was. There was a time look at the just gaps, gap, gap. Every day was a gap, and like you never knew where it was gonna gap, and so I couldn't mess with this. But we're actually starting to, well, still gaps everywhere. What am I saying? It's still gappy. But they're trying to make it a little less gappy, but yeah, man, I can't do that. No, no, Parita, you basically got it. Some trend lines, get your big major. He's going to call them demand zones, support resistance, whatever you want to call it. Find places where big buyers have showed up before. That's what you're looking for. And then look for that nice reaction to the upside. See if they're going to let it stick. Get in there.
Oh, man, I've never heard it simplified so well, man.
I mean,
Throw some volume in there, and that's basically what my chart looks like.
yeah, I mean,
Volume expansion on a move away. If it's a pullback, you're looking for contraction just to see if, I mean, basically volume is that move sponsored or is it just noise?
yep.
But I mean, yeah,
And for anybody, what he's saying is when we're going up, volume better be going up, not down. You want your volume supporting the move. You don't want your volume questioning the move. It's kind of like we've seen, and this is something I talked about back in, March of last year as well. Something that we've been seeing recently. Sell days, big old solid volume. Look at this buy up. Look at this buy up on half the volume of the days we've been selling. You always want to take note of those. Again, we're going up, volume's decreasing the whole time. You want to question that move. Don't get me wrong, is this $20 upside move on SPY epic? Yes, but the market wasn't piling in there to make it happen. They're piling in when we sell. Definitely worth noting.
yeah. You just knew that move was suspicious. You knew it wasn't gonna hold, man. But
Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah, as far as like indicator questions go, because I got a few of these now. Like, I mean, I don't rely on tools. Like, you want to rely on evidence. These tools, like, they just help you read the order flow, which is really all you're really trading.
Yeah.
So volume, I am planning on doing like another little slide deck because people enjoyed it. That's probably going to be the topic of the next one because that's where my next level in points shift too.
Yeah, I think it's wildly important. Some volume's something I watch every single day. I got a bunch of different things to help me watch it, especially as a scalper. It can help. When you start seeing some volume, like anybody who's traded with me in VC at some point has heard me say, I don't like this volume that's coming in. I'm getting out, or I do like this volume that's coming in. I'm getting in. The volume tells you what's going on in the market, and I'm not saying you got to go like dive into like level two time and sales, all of that stuff, that they have their place, but start watching volume. Volume is what moves the market. You don't need to get super hung up on the number. What I always encourage people to do is care much more about the ratio. As I've said, this was decreasing volume. And I guarantee you people were talking about low volume pump on SPY, but they weren't like taking into account like yes it is low volume, but they're expecting it to die or whatever it is. You have to realize low volume just means easier to move for a hedge fund, I mean, because it's no, we aren't moving these, algos are moving these, and an algo would much rather catch a $20 ripper or whatever it is on 60 million volume than 100 million volume because they get to spend less to do it. So pay attention to the ratio. If there's more buying than selling, you probably want to be long. If there's more selling than buying, you probably want to be short. Not to oversimplify like one of the more advanced things in the market, but like if you're buying, you want other people buying. If you're selling, you want other people selling. That's a great way to view the market. And again, an extremely overly simplified version of an extremely advanced side of it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, man, that's well put. But it all comes down to confluence. Like we're looking at the whole picture with all the details.
Yep. And that's what I think is so important for people. And it is you know, look at the whole market. And 1K touched on it really good as well, I mean, and don't get me wrong, I'm super guilty of not doing this also, but if the market's selling and you're day trading or you're scalping, look for other names that are selling. If you aren't comfortable trading SPY or QQQ, and honestly, awesome. Most people shouldn't trade SPY and QQQ. That's just fine. Most other things are easier to trade, safer to trade, equally as profitable, if not more. But let all these things come together and actually work for you. And if the market is looking like it's selling and you're day trading and you're scalping, go look for other things that are selling. Don't try to be the hero that, catches the bottom or buys the knife or anything like that. If most names are looking like they're selling, things are breaking, supports, things are breaking trend lines, whatever it might be, look to sell. And I love that 1K said that. I think it's very, very good advice. Or, also, if you don't like shorting the market like Tilio, he'll top tick the market for you and tell you where to short, and he won't buy a put. He doesn't like to trade short, so he doesn't trade short. So if you don't like to trade short, it can be, be aware of what the market is doing and say, okay, maybe I'm not going to trade today, or I'm going to wait for a nice setup into a support or a demand zone or whatever it might be to take my trade. And that's going to be one of the best things you can do for your trading. Don't fight the market. Nobody cares if you bottom ticked and hit 1,000%er. They won't remember, tomorrow. Hell, they won't remember in 4 hours what you did. So just trade what the market gives you, and if you don't like what the market's giving you, sit on your hands and wait for it to.
Don't trade it.
Yeah, exactly. Don't trade it. It's that simple. And I love Nando and the other VC. Really got to commend him. Not only has the trading been super sick and heading in the right direction for months now, year and a half now, you teach patience. Like it is the most underrated ability that a trader has. If you are patient, you will make more money. Like I can 100% guarantee you. And Nando is great at saying, I'm going to sit and I'm going to wait. And if it takes me, maybe it takes me 20 minutes to get into a trade, maybe it takes me 3 hours to get into a trade. I'm going to wait until the setup I want comes. And I love that teaching by example, and he's very, very good at having patience. And I wish more people would pick up on it, He deals with it all the time. I deal with it all the time. Calls or puts, question mark. Like if you don't even have like any idea of what's going on in the market or what trade you want to be taking, don't just be asking calls or puts. If you don't even know if you should be long or short, you should probably not be in a trade at that time. That's the best thing you can do. Yeah, good morning, River. What we in? Yeah, that's Manny did. Manny's very like, and I do trade the open. I don't recommend it, but Manny loves to hop in 2 minutes into open and be like, what I miss? Like literally nothing, dude. 65 seconds of market is what you missed. But so that's we've been yapping. Any other questions? Any questions you guys got? Big thank you to Shark and big thank you to 1K for being here. You guys
Yo, River, I still have a question. If Norman is not here, then I'm here. My bad.
okay, yeah, what do you got for me, Raul?
I'm talking about the swing of Netflix. Shark always take the strong demand zone, but catching on the falling knife around 90 and then Nendo took around 80, 85. Why usually
Well, so I don't know if he's still here, so I don't want to speak for him, but it's looking at the chart. Look, I mean his chart probably has this same damn thing. This was a buy. It was a buy that it was a buy that didn't work. Sometimes that's gonna
right?
happen. As I recall, there was like multiple bad news days in here too. It was just a buy that didn't work. And that's gonna happen sometimes in trading. And then he's like me. All you do when all you all you do is you trade your setup. When your setup comes, your setup comes. So we start looking left over here. We say, okay, they bought here before. So we want to look for it. And like you said, he wants to look for those strong reactions. And when you get the strong reaction off the area you think you should, you start to look for your trade. So then his trade shut up and or maybe it was up here. I mean, any of these, you just started looking left, and I'm sorry from it for me and for how I trade, and maybe Shark disagrees with this, from 81 to 88, I'm long on Netflix. And we can ultimately see here, I was dead wrong, and I'll always admit when I'm dead wrong. Shark will always admit when he's wrong. It happens to everybody. But I look left over here, I'm a buyer on Netflix. And it's just
But
one.
look at the weekly candle. It's just straight falling knife,
Yeah,
and
and now it is.
right.
But look at this. Last week, we were working on printing a reversal candle. This week, or whatever this was, middle of January, beautiful reversal candle. Like these are buys. These are just buys that sometimes it doesn't work out. But no matter what, you start looking left over here, 82, you gotta be a buyer. 85, you gotta be a buyer. 90, you gotta be a buyer. But ultimately you're wrong sometimes, that's just the way it is. And you know,
So so
most
let's
good,
say
most
let's say
think of it this way, most excellent reversals have a really ugly
Tough time.
right before them. Most
yeah.
reversals are going to have that. You guys have all heard me talk about three push wedges, things like that. They're going to have that exhaustion candle where the sellers or buyers or whatever it might be are doing their one final push. So sometimes, like, let's say, like Netflix will probably put in a big reversal sooner than later. If I was a betting man, I would say Netflix is likely going to put in a big reversal sooner than later. Big old blowout candles, big old blowout on the daily. I will say everybody in OT hates this stock right now. Me too. I lost money. I made money once and then I lost money on it shortly after and gave it all back. I hate Netflix just as much as everybody else right now. I hate XLF more than Netflix personally right
Yeah,
now.
revert. So
Like,
I never took the Netflix, but the reason is he always go with a very strong demand. Let's say Netflix 65, 70 zone. If I look left on weekly, that's the strongest demand zone, right? And
no,
where I
no,
would catch
81
the
to
reversal.
85 is. This is the strongest zone on the chart, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Right here is the strongest thing on the chart.
Yeah.
This provided absolutely massive reversals off of it. Even when it came down to the highs of it, it provided a massive reversal. This was the strongest zone on the chart, in my opinion, how I view things. We can obviously see when this zone was given up, the market has obviously also decided that it was a gigantic level and has decided to flush 10% under it. And a week, less than a week, you know? So to
Vol
me,
volume
that's going to be
profiles
your
like that
biggest
kind
zone
of
on
too.
there.
Hey, River, can you pull up the daily chart for
Yeah.
Netflix? I believe it was.
You
Yeah,
took on
so
6th
on
January.
the 20, yeah, January 27, yeah, I had that 82 to 85 demand zone, and we just formed a bullish hammer on the daily. So it was like a really nice reaction off that thing. So
Yeah.
typically you're looking at this, and that's a sign of a reversal trying to form. And if I can go back, I would listen to my own advice where let me look at the reaction rather than
Mhm.
hop right in this trade. But I mean, I was looking for continuation in these situations. Obviously, you can play Monday morning quarterback and say we're looking for the impulse off that zone. If we formed that reversal, I'm loading the boat there. Obviously, maybe we should have gave it a few more days, but like you said, these are good looks. I mean, they're not gonna pan out every time, but
Yeah.
I,
And
I
that's
So,
something like that's the big thing that people don't like, that they don't like, that they have a really hard time understanding in the market. And, you know, they get mad at me or Shark or 1K or whoever it is, you know, Nando. We are wrong sometimes. We have what we trade. And like, I mean, you just heard me and Shark have the exact same feelings on this. This is a buy
so,
every single
so
time.
River,
Wait,
And
one
River,
it's
my
second.
question.
Wait. Before Viral goes, let me break something down here. So I did enter the Netflix trade with Shark, so I'll blame the loss on him. You know,
yeah,
the
me
least
too.
thing I could do. But one
Me
thing
too.
though, so before I did enter this trade, there's one thing that I did mention. Um, a specific name, especially like Netflix. I'll give a few other examples, like Tesla and Nvidia after a split. You can't expect it to trade the same way that it used to before. So when I bought it, I promise you, I already had a feeling this
Yeah.
might not give us the bounce that we were looking for. It might not print that green candle that we've always seen on Netflix, right? There used to be a $1,000 stock, so I'm sure
Yeah.
everybody's like making that mistake of thinking that it's gonna trade the same way it used to. And I made the mistake with Nvidia, trying to like time the bottom a little bit too early, and it took a little bit of time. Look at Nvidia now, and it's outperforming. It's done way better than it was after the split price. Same
Yep.
with Tesla, So I think a
So,
lot of retail
Nando,
makes that
Nando,
mistake.
And you are
le-
extremely hard pressed to find something that won't sell after a split. You know, there's a lot of reasons for that.
Walmart, look at Walmart. Walmart, I think they died a good amount,
Yeah.
and it
Oh,
wasn't until they started to like find some
yeah.
like
Walmart.
buyers, and
Oh, yeah,
then
there's
it
just a
was
lot
like
more.
game over for the upside.
Dude,
le-
this one, Shopify. Oh, I'd have to go back a while on this one. Dude, when Shopify split, oh my God, it was like, and they announced it, and it was the hammering of it. So here's our split, and it doesn't look like much, but that's 40% down to the lows. Don't get me wrong, it had already
40 to
done.
20, big amount.
But
Yep.
yeah, you know, 40% down. One that I'm watching, a stock I like, Service Now. You know, it
that's
split.
exactly I
I
was
was
about
looking
to
for
ask
the
a question.
sell, but we're down 43% off the highs after that split, you know? I mean, and so Netflix was one that for me, I love that you said that, Nanda, and I actually brought that up because I had forgotten about this. Because when I looked at Netflix and you know, when I looked at Netflix, I looked at this and I was like, okay, so we split and we're down 15, 20%, you know, because funds will sell because they've, you know, suddenly their position size has 10x'd, and that's not what they wanted to do. Obviously, not dollar wise, share wise. But they generally have an amount of shares they want, and they're going to sell some of those shares once the split comes. It's a story as old as time. I mean, God, Tesla was down for 3 years after it split. Uh, I was thinking, oh, dude, this is Netflix. You know, like you said, I was looking for that big green Netflix candle that it loves to have. And I thought 15% was plenty of selling. Now that it's even 15% lower than that, you know, and 50% off highs, you know, we all tried to catch it. And man, we were wrong this time.
So, Revert, my question was not asking an analyst why you took the one and it got filled. The question was related to service now. Same thing has been splitted, has been falling knife the software. Now is around, if you see the weekly and if you create the trend line on the service now on a weekly, then it comes around 100 a buying zone. So usually if you create right from the bottom all the way, right? So it goes to the 100 over there and psychological level
Yeah.
Will it be a buying
I
trend?
mean,
I took
Yeah,
it
yeah.
today as a
One
swing
second.
trade.
Listen, the one second time this bottom, I'm gonna need your autograph and shipped right to my
yeah.
doorstep because for me, I just wouldn't time the bottom here. I don't want to
And
be
like
that
you can
genius, you
see,
know?
so I'll point this out to you guys. You can see that I had interest in it. You can see how low my levels went, and you can see where I wanted to buy. I'll tell you what, right now, I am so grateful that I chose to not buy this trend after that split. Because obviously, like, and I had no idea it was going to keep crushing $40. I'm going hands off. They hate software right now. I don't know why. You know way more about this sector than I do overall. I hate this stuff right now.
I
So,
I don't think there's a why. It's just like
yeah.
how much it has ran,
Yeah.
in the
I mean,
past.
yeah, you
That's
look at
it's
this run that it had from $10 back in what, 2016 to 239. Um, you put up
when
the
we
couple
dump a good
thousand.
amount, there's no like explanation to it.
Yeah,
I'm sure nobody's looking for explanation when we're ripping that amount. Nobody's wondering,
exactly.
hey, why are we
Yeah.
going? It's always when we're
The
going down.
future. Yeah, this is the greatest thing ever when it's going up, and then it's not.
No
They get,
questions.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I took the on a falling knife today. I was trying to go under the 100, but it is strong, and today is reversal from the 100 psychological level. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I took it. So that's
Ano-
why I was asking Shark
Well, and I mean,
how he usually take.
that was even me on Apple. I mean, like there was a couple places that I'd buy, and it didn't work. It's just one of those days that like it wouldn't work. I mean, ultimately we got our 260 bounce, but I look over here and I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely trying this buy in the 264 to 265. And like I said, I think I got a little bounce. Yeah, I got this little bounce right here. But ultimately, obviously, looking back, hey, I sure wish I shorted 275 and then went to bed and woke up at market close. But it was just, sometimes dip buys aren't going to work. And sometimes short rips aren't going to work. I can even give an example because Nando's here because this is hilarious. Okay.
Bang bang.
Okay, so Nando and me we were in lecture the other day, like what, 2 weeks ago? Oh my God, it's done that in 2 weeks. So we were in lecture, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, somewhere back here, middle of January at some point, and he's asking me about XOM, and I'm like, oh, oil's always been the easy short. I wouldn't really like necessarily want to be long here. I would be at least expecting a pullback. This thing's been when we really zoom out and look at it. You know, I I won't necessarily call it dead money because it's very tradable, but it's done nothing. And then this breakout came. And so, we're in lecture, like I said, somewhere like back here. And I said, hey, I'd be looking for a pullback. Like I personally wouldn't be long and strong oil. And Nando was like, yeah, but I kind of think this time's different. So I was like, oh, well,
Yes, sir.
and I was like, well, let me pull some fibs. And not what, 2 to 3 weeks later, we've run to 161.8. Like this, I mean, this is just parabolic move. And so sometimes we're going to be wrong on trades and something that should work, short oil, short XLE, short those things at the high of these ranges. Like, I mean, the chart will never lie. Free money for years. And this, one thing we know, and we discussed this because I even told Nando when he said that, I was like, dude, I really like your idea. And I hadn't even looked at it that way. This time could be different. One thing we know, 3, 4 years of consolidation provides a
Woo.
massive breakout.
Yes, sir.
50% runner.
Hey,
So
listen, and you got to factor another thing. Sometimes they get a call from the rabbi, little insider call.
oh my,
I know what's going on.
yeah. But so see, you look left here, and yeah, you probably shouldn't. Maybe it was even back here that we said it. You probably shouldn't be long there once we get over it, of course. You're probably good to go. But like oil was the easy short, and instead XM rammed 50% against where I said, hey, I'd probably be short this thing.
Con- con-
We'll all be wrong sometimes.
contracts did a 1,000%. Well, an extra like 800 after we exited, but
Oh, dude, nice, dude. You fucking river sold it. I love to hear.
it's
Proud of you.
really tough to capitalize on XU. The name's been stuck in 3-4 years. You
Yeah,
can't really hope for too much. But yeah, me just saying like maybe this time is different, being optimistic.
yeah.
And man, look at this move. It's honestly impressive.
It's super impressive. Are you kidding me? The 50% ripper. you know?
50, almost at we're like at 108 average. So I think we need a little bit more.
There you go. Yeah, dude, that is sick. Yeah. And I was just thinking of basically 120 to 160 was all I was thinking in my head. Close enough, dude. That's just insanity.
Wait till we invade the next country and take
Right?
their oil.
Yeah.
Not fine.
God,
Hopefully that doesn't happen, you know?
even it's sold today, huh? Wow. Everything's sold today. Wow. Okay,
Did
well,
you have
everybody, we're
you?
gonna call it here. Thank you so
Yep.
much. 1K, thank you if you're still here. Shark, thank you if you're still here. Nando, thank you for being here. Thank you everybody else for being here. Appreciate y'all.
All right, guys, nothing real. Catch you.
Right on. Thank you so much, Shark. Thank you. I appreciate it. Love it. Anytime you can pull up 1K if you're still here. Thank you guys. Thank you. Yep, right on, everyone. We will talk to you later. Thank you so much.